What's good, Wizards fans? It's your hosts, the real Ed Oliver and Brandon Scott. Today we're going to react to Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma's Media Day comments. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
So thank you guys for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts. It's your host, the real Ed Oliver, and my guy, Brandon Scott. Today we're going to talk about Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma's Media Day press conference comments today and start that off. And we're going to do Danny and Bilal the next episode, and then we're going to do some more with probably just the rest of the guys. And then we're going to preview the preseason game coming up on Tuesday, October 10th. And later on this week, we'll talk about the City Edition jerseys that were leaked as well. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. But we're going to start off with our guy, Kyle Kuzma, had blue hair. Not as bad as Jimmy Butler with his hair situation. But we know Kyle Kuzma likes to do stuff like this and dye his hair. What were some comments that stood out to you? Or what was we'll start off one by one. What was one quote that stood out to you from Kyle Kuzma?
First one to start off, man, he made a comment that this is a retool, not a rebuild. There's a lot. He believes there's a lot of talent on this roster, and I said this early on, man, that I kind of view this as a short-term rebuild or a retool. Because if you look at the talent, Kyle Kuzma, Jordan Poole, championship experience, leadership. But if you look at the young guys, we know what Corey Kispert can do. Denny, he has on the defensive side. He is on point. We're just waiting on the offensive side. So Johnny's still waiting and Bilal's still waiting, but you have intriguing talent. I don't talk about Tyus as much as I should. I think Tyus Jones is going to be a heck of a point guard. I think he's, we have a good team, not great, not trash, kind of in the middle. I think we're definitely going to be too good to really have a top 5 pick. But I say that now, but after the deadline, we'll see. We very well could, fulfill that goal. But right now, before the deadline, we have a lot of talent. Like I said, Tyus Jones is going to have the opportunity to prove that he could be a starting point guard. Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma are both going to score at a high clip. And so I'm with him, man. I think this could be a retool. Now, the reason why I think it's a retool, because very often than not, DC is always painted as a city that not a lot of free agents want to come to. And I always mention that, with Jordan Poole, with a lot of influence off the court, same thing with Kyle Kuzma, I think that eventually people are going to want to come to DC, man. And, if you look at the free agent markets in the next 3 years, man, there's an opportunity for us to get some talent here, man. And especially through trade, definitely got to build through the draft. That's our first go-to. But I think that they're going to be able to build a contender in 3 to maybe 4 years. So I'm with them, man. I think it's going to be a retool. They have too much talent to really be the bottom of the barrel. So, yeah, that's one quote that I'm going to start with that I really like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we'll see how the season goes. You brought up the trade deadline. So it is interesting to see who they keep. Are they going to move Tyus? Or are they going to move DeLon, Shamet, Gallo, all these guys? How long is this rebuild going to take, or retool going to take? And can Jordan Poole hit his full potential? We'll see how that happens. Kyle Kuzma, does he hit his full potential? Can he have somewhat of an all-star season? He's going to put up a lot of points and a lot of shots. So we'll see how he improves this season. And, just going forward, we'll see how this team goes. It's a bunch of young guys, a mix of young guys and veterans. And, it probably will take about 3 years. We don't have a lot of first-round picks. We didn't get a lot of draft capital from Brad. We didn't get a lot of draft capital from Porzingis. And, they're kind of still trying to get – it looks like they're trying to get trade capital from Kyle Kuzma and possibly get a first-round pick for him. So it could take – it definitely – I could see the new regime taking 3 years to become really a legitimate competitive team, especially with the Eastern Conference being so good with Dame going to the East now, and you got the Celtics getting Drew Holiday. They got better. They improved. They got Porzingis. Yeah. So the East, it got tougher this year. It got tougher. It's been good. It was good last year, but it definitely is an uphill battle for the Wizards moving forward for sure. That was a good quote. I did like Kuzma talking about playing with pace. No, I know they did talk about this last year, and they talked about this last year going into the offseason. They want to push the pace, so it's really on West. But even without West, I think we got guys that want to move the ball more, want to push, want to run. We have some shooters on the floor. Gallo can shoot. Muscala can shoot. We got some bigs that can shoot. Jordan Poole can shoot, Kuz can shoot, Tyus can shoot, Corey can shoot. So we have a lot of shooters. We got a lot of young guys that can run. Blau can run. And Kyle Kuzma, we got really excited. He said, much faster, talking about playing with pace. Oh my gosh, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be really fun, and it's going to be fun to watch too. We got a lot of shooting. We got a lot of exciting players, so it's going to be entertaining. So, yeah, I'm excited watching this team. They may not win a lot of games, but they're going to run up and down the court. Gafford is a big that you got to run. You get the best out of him when he's running the floor, catching lobs, catching oops. That's how you get the best out of him. Tyus Jones is more of a steady Eddie guy, but I think he can push the pace too. Last year, you had Monte, who's just a slower point guard. DeLon Wright is a guy that's not really looking to push like that either. So, with Jordan Poole, who's a young guy, who's quick and fast. Kyle Kuzma likes to push when he gets the rebounds too. Denny likes to push it too when he gets bored. So, if West really just lets these guys play freely, then they can really, really push the pace and be a top 10, fast break or a top 10 pace team. That doesn't mean they're going to win a lot of games, but they could be more efficient with pushing the pace.
Yeah, I think so too. I think they're definitely going to be more efficient. I think if you really want to get the most out of this talent, you already mentioned it, definitely push the pace. I think that's definitely a recipe for success because in the last 2 years, Dinwiddie, Monte, just it's just too slow, man. The defense had plenty of time to set up, and just, we just didn't have the personnel for that system offensively to be able to play at half court. So I definitely think that pushing the pace is going to get the most out of this roster. Looking at another quote real quick. He said that I'm not a vet. Taj is a vet, but I'm seasoned. So he's being a little humble a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But as far as this quote kind of tells me, he's got it leadership, man. I mean, I love the leadership of him and Jordan Poole, man. Kind of funny comments, obviously Taj's been in the game a minute, but I think the biggest thing that he brings to the Wizards, same thing with Jordan Poole, man, is just that championship experience, playing with the players that they play with, man. A lot of players that, look at the guys who played with Jordan, man. Either, they've been head coaches, they've been in executives, you playing with the greats, man, you learn, you know what I'm saying? Steve Kerr, Steve Kerr was a guy where, he was a piece of the puzzle, but he wasn't like an all-star, he wasn't, a marquee guy, but he's a head coach of a very successful team. So you learn stuff. So I definitely think that, they bring a lot of experience. And one more, we kind of talked before, but he said that this team, quote unquote, is going to be very, very fun to watch. Mm-hmm. But he kind of mentioned, I know he's kind of throwing bullets at it a little bit, but that he mentioned that last year wasn't too fun to watch. So, and that kind of brings up another thing is that that's another thing that's kind of the hallmarks of leadership. Talk, tell me the truth. Don't whitewash nothing. Just look, tell me what I want to hear, man. And that's what I like about Kyle Kuzma, man, is that he tells it like it is. He's not trying to be political. He's not trying to beat around the bush. Look, last year wasn't fun to watch. It's just had a lot going on. But I agree, man. I think that this is definitely going to be a team that's going to be fun to watch. Now, we both know that they're not aiming to make the playoffs. Now, if they make the playoffs, Lord have mercy, that'll be a heck of a plus. But they're definitely evaluating. So, but you mentioned earlier, right before I passed my back, man. It's very interesting because you brought up Lord have mercy, Tyus Jones, and could he be? I mean, maybe they're evaluating him. Maybe if he plays well enough, could he be a long-term piece? There's a lot of variables here, and that's what I like about what's going on here is that yes, we're evaluating before the deadline, and maybe we're playing young guys after the deadline, but they're evaluating a lot of these vets too, and if these vets prove to be part of the future, you very well could see a couple of these vets as long-term pieces. So yeah, those are a couple of quotes I like, man.
Yeah, he definitely threw shade at the last year's team and some of the process there. Maybe he was talking about the late game situations where we just couldn't finish games, or we blew leads at the end, or it was just repetitive giving Brad the ball at the end of the game, or Porzingis starting off hot and then he goes cold in the second half. So maybe he could be talking about that where it was just a slower pace, not a lot of pushing the pace, and that's something that he wants to see moving forward. And yeah, it's more entertaining when they're running up and down, like kind of that run and gun style. So yeah, I could see why he was saying that. But another thing that I like too that he said, he talked about him and Jordan Poole playing together, how they're going to complement each other well because they both played off ball with future Hall of Famers. Kuz played with LeBron, he played with Anthony Davis. They won a championship over there with the Lakers. He won a championship over there with the Lakers. Jordan Poole played with Steph Curry, Klay Thompson with the Warriors, some future Hall of Famers right there. And they didn't have the ball at the time. So they had to learn to play off of guys, play off LeBron, play off of Steph, play off of Clay, play off of AD, Anthony Davis. So, and Kuz said, I'm really excited. It's not my turn, his turn type of situation. We can play throughout an ecosystem together and make it work. So they're guys, they're looking to share the ball. Yes, they take a lot of shots. They take a lot of heat check shots. They take a lot of side step back, kind of really contested shots. We know we get that from Kuz. We're going to get that a lot from Jordan Poole as well, but they're not going to make it a your turn, my turn. So they're going to try to make it into the flow of the offense, which is going to be hard coming off. This is their first time playing with each other. So it may look a little up and down at first, but I think once they get the chemistry, and you just see them, they did the TikTok thing where it was some type of TikTok thing where they're like saying who's the best defender, who's the best passer. So you see the chemistry, they're laughing together. It is the honeymoon phase right now, so everybody's getting along and whatnot. So I'm pretty optimistic on the way it's going to work out. I think these two are going to play really, really good basketball together. And you brought up Tyus as well. He said Tyus brings some calmness. He brings calmness. He said you're going to see a lot from Tyus Jones this year. He respects the way Tyus Jones works as a player on and off the court. So he said he's had nothing but good things to say about Tyus Jones as well.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely like how this is all coming together to start things off, man. Obviously, everything has to, the season has to happen. But right now, they're doing all the right things as far as chemistry, as far as, you see, videos of Jordan Poole and Tyus in the gym, putting in work, Kyle Kuzma doing this thing with his blue hair. So they're definitely building that chemistry. Chemistry is very important, especially for a young team like this, man, but I love what they're doing, man. I love the leadership potential of Jordan Poole and Kyle Kuzma, man. I mean, I think just like last year, we're looking at DeLon Wright. We called that probably one of the most under the radar, underrated moves of the NBA, in my opinion. Kyle Kuzma could be that, man, because what he brings as far as leadership and experience, man, is going to do a lot for these young guys in his organization, and it's going to do a lot for helping build that winning culture in DC. So I love what I see, man.
Yeah, he said he talked with Derek Jeter about leadership as well. I mean, that's one of the greats. You're a baseball guy. I don't watch baseball much, but I know Derek Jeter certainly is a Hall of Famer and a legend. So, I mean, that's one of the best guys you can learn leadership from is Derek Jeter. But we're going to talk about leadership a little bit more. Before we do get to that, today's episode is brought to you by Ibotta. It's football season, so that means pizza, wings, and maybe even some buffalo chicken dip, whatever you prefer at your tailgate. Go all out and get cash back on every purchase with Ibotta. The holidays are near, which means you might have a long list of gifts you need to buy. Don't just spend money on everyone else without getting anything in return. Use Ibotta to start getting cash back today. Ibotta gives you cash back on hundreds of grocery items, from produce to personal care to pantry goods, so you can make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. Either link your loyalty account or upload your receipt after you shop and get your cash back. It's that easy. Download the Ibotta app now and use code LOCKED to start earning real cash back. Just go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app and use code LOCKED. That's IBOTTA in the Google Play or App Store and use code LOCKED. And right now, everybody's getting along well. Like I said, it is the honeymoon phase. Gaffer joked around about Kuzma calling a timeout. Kuzma joked around about it on Twitter. We'll talk about more about what Gaffer had to say as well. But one comment that stood out to me about Jordan Poole, and his quote is, and I'll talk about what Bilal had to say about Jordan Poole too. We'll talk about what Bilal had to say later, but in another episode, but Bilal talked about how Jordan Poole made Bilal move his locker to hit right next to Jordan Poole. He moved his name tag, so that showed leadership as well.
Yeah,
and they talked about how Jordan Poole organized this mini camp, the summer mini camp. We talked about the before, and invited teammates to come out to Los Angeles and play together before training camp, before the season started. So Jordan Poole is just showing a lot of leadership. Same thing with Kyle Kuzma. Jordan Poole said, we know what it takes to build a championship culture. It starts with chemistry. It starts with being able to play for your teammates. Not just with your teammates, you got to really know who they are as people. So he really wanted to get to know the guys coming from the Warriors, coming from a championship culture. He knows how it is over there. And, his last year there, the chemistry just wasn't there with them, whether it was him and some coaches or going back and forth with teammates, the unfortunate event that happened at practice before the season started. So I think he really is keying in on getting to know guys this year, because he doesn't want to go through the experience that he had last year. He wants to really get along with guys, and he knows that the better the chemistry is, the better the team is, just the better the experience. You can get the most out of your teammates and himself. So he's just showing a lot of leadership qualities, and I saw a lot of that in the press conference. That was one quote that stood out to me.
Yeah, same here, man. I think he's shown leadership and he's shown maturity. He's had to kind of build his own brand coming to DC pretty fast, man, because he getting traded, and then a lot of stuff coming out with him and Draymond and this and that. He's had to kind of change the narrative and kind of form his own identity in DC really fast, and that's tough to do when you come to a new organization, especially coming from issues. Now, I know the only issues really are the Draymond Green punch and stuff like that. But the narrative was, he's a free shooter who's immature. No, he's done all the right things, man. I'm very impressed by how he's carried himself, because just the Draymond Green comments, he could have clapped back. It could have been. I don't know if you remember, man. You remember when it's old school, man. Deshaun Stevenson was on the Wizards, and it was us against the Cavs, and it ended up being like Jay-Z versus.
Of course,
yeah. So he could have clapped back. We could have had our own little moment, going back and forth. But he took the grown man approach. He let it go. He said, "Look, I'm in DC. I'm gonna focus on DC." First thing he does, he hollers at Bilal and says, "Look, man," takes him on his wing. He's doing all the right things. So he's acting. The maturity level is very high. I love what I see from him, man, because like I said all the time, it's like it's tough to judge a player from another organization when you're not in that area, because you don't have the you don't see him as much. Like, we know all the players in the organization, how they are, because we watch games, this and that. So seeing how he does in DC now, because I didn't know much about him in Golden State outside his play style on the court. I see a humble young dude who's hungry. He's ready to prove that he's trying to prove to the NBA, but that one, he can be a leader on a championship contender. But two, man, I'm telling you, he's going to light the league on fire. So yeah, I'm with you. I love that quote. And it kind of leads into the quote that the next one, man, where he says that the organization is giving him a green light, man. And I love it. They're giving him a chance to be himself, to be that scorer. Be that guy. Take those shots, man. Find the efficiency. Learn to grow your game. I love it, man. It kind of goes into a quote, going back to Kuzma real quick, where it talks about how the Wizards gave him a chance to lead, kind of gave him a chance to be him. And that's why I said that and that's the one comment that kind of leads me to, people are going to want him come here and play, man, because when you hear players say this organization is giving me the chance to be me, for me to expand my game, for me to find myself as far as who I am as a player, that's going to resonate with other players, man, especially young players, because there's a lot of players out there that may not be in the right system, may not be in the right fit, may not like their coach, but this and that, but just needs a place where they can be themselves. And when you hear stuff like that from players, man, and the season hasn't even started, you hear a lot of good things about this organization from these players. They're going to bring free agents here, man. So I think that whole narrative about DC not being a free agent destination is going to end. I think people are going to want to play with these guys, man. So, that's another quote I really like.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's going to be able to play free. He's going to have the ball in his hands a lot. Michael Winger, Will Dawkins said that. So he's going to have the greenest of green lights. We know that. He didn't have to say it for us to know that. We know him and Kuz are going to get a lot of shots up. So Jordan Poole, man, he's a guy that can average. He averaged 25 points when Steph didn't play, so I could certainly see him averaging that.
Yeah.
Well above. Andre Iguodala said he could average 30 as well. So a lot of people will see that Jordan Poole can average definitely above 25 points a game. But it's the way that he does it. How is he going to do it efficiently, or is he forcing shots? Is it within the game? And I think that's something that him and Kuz we're trying to say, that they're not trying to force stuff. Your turn, my turn. So, I'm excited to see Jordan Poole play this year. Once again, talking about the championship culture, and he talked about DC a lot. He brought up Mumbo Sauce, just asking people where to go for food and stuff like that. So just being a normal guy in the city.
Yeah.
And he kind of has been, under the radar. He's kind of trying to go and not let a lot of people see him, or he'll wear like something to disguise himself and get away with, just being around in the city. He did say that he thinks they're building something special here, just being optimistic about the team. So, yeah, I thought the guy said nothing but good things, and it's the honeymoon phase right now, so we just got to see how these guys play. Was there any other things that stood out to you?
Let me look at my quotes real quick. There was one other that we didn't touch, but it kind of leads into the green light, but it's another quote that he says, I've always played the right way. It was never a me type of play style. Whatever is next right now, if somebody is open because I'm able to draw two, I'll get off the ball. And that's the thing that we talk about. Obviously, look, Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole are both going to be shooting the ball a lot. But here's the thing: when defenses start focusing on one or both of them, then you start to see some of these other guys. What can they do? Denny, offensively, this is the time when they get doubled, or when the focus is on them, for you to maybe be that third scorer. Be that guy. Tyus, how high is his ceiling as far as scoring. I mean, this is when you start to see these guys, what can they do as far as a third or maybe fourth scoring option. And once you get to that point, now you kind of sit back and evaluate and say, all right, this is what we got. Because look, if Denny Avia can be that third scoring option on this team, then we're cooking. I mean, we need that third guy. We know what Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole's going to do. Is that, to me, who's going to be that dark horse third or fourth scoring option for us, man? And it very well could be Denny. Corey Kisper's a guy out there who can definitely score. So Bilal, it all depends, obviously, before deadline, after deadline. But I think that's really highlights how guys can step up behind them. Is finally the time that Denny breaks out offensively. You know what I'm saying? So,
yeah, I like that. I like him saying it's not a me thing.
Yeah,
shot selection is going to be huge. He did lead the league in turnovers coming off the bench. So that's something I want to see him improve on. I think Tyus will help him doing that. That's why I kind of like Jordan Poole at the shooting guard position, because just the turnover problem that he has. But with the turnovers comes good plays, because he's doing a lot. He's trying to make plays, trying to make good passes, he's trying to score. So I get turnovers come with it, but it's something that he definitely should cut down on. And shot selection is going to be huge. That's a me thing. Is he going to make the extra pass? Is he going to move the ball? Kuz said he worked on shooting off the dribble. That was one of the things he wanted to improve on. And he talked about, being guarded by the best defenders in the league now, because he's a number one option. So, I've seen him have good games. When we both went to the game against the Clippers, where Kawhi was guarding him. He had a big game against Kawhi, Paul George, when John Wall came back. Bradley Beal was out. So that kind of gave you a glimpse of how Kuz was going to play as the number one guy. Porzingis was still playing, but Kuz had to step up and take some big shots that game. So that was a preview of more what we're going to see without Brad and Kuz stepping up. Shot selection is going to be huge for both of these guys. How are they going to play together? Unselfish basketball. They both are going to take tough shots, but at the same time, are they going to make the extra pass to, if Denny's wide open, are they going to look for him? Even though he's been struggling from the three, are they going to trust him and make that extra pass? So those are some examples right there that I'm looking forward to see during the season.
Yeah, absolutely. Same here, man. Like I said, I'm kind of reinforcing what I just said, is that, they're going to get a lot of focus from the opposing defenses. So I'm kind of looking for these next guys, especially young guys, to kind of step up. And that's why I kind of throw Denny out there, because he's the guy, contract year. I think everybody's kind of on the same page when it comes to Denny. Just wait on the offensive side, man. We know we can do defensively, but can he be that guy who can take advantage of those open shots? Because he's going to get some open looks. Corey Kispert is going to get a lot of open looks. I mean, the list goes on. I mean, Daniel Gafford's going to be able to, they're going to be able to pick up that pick and roll, because a lot of focus is going to be on those two. So they can definitely expand the games a lot of players around. Tyus Jones is another guy, obviously he's the floor general, but offensively, what's his ceiling? Because we definitely need that guy at point guard long term. Like I said, everybody wants Jordan Poole to be that guy long term, but you mentioned earlier, they're evaluating everybody. And if Tyus comes in and he proves to be that guy, we might be cooking. And like you said, you think he's better served at the two. And I think that he can be successful at the one or the two. And like you said, if he's at the one, he's definitely got to show up the turnovers, man, because that's like the biggest sin when it comes to a point guard. You know what I mean? So you got to show up the turnovers, man. But there's a lot of options, and that's something that we haven't always had. We have a lot of options, kind of mismatched here and there, play guys here and there. So there's a lot of options to DC. So I think that's the biggest thing that I'm really looking forward to, is just, going to West. How does he kind of figure things around? Because he has a lot of leeway as far as where he can play guys, go off lineups, really game plan. That's something he couldn't do the last 2 years, is game plan against opponents, as opposed to just throwing a general lineup out there. You know what I mean? So, no, I think, good times are definitely hit, man. And looking at Kyle Kuzma and Jordan Poole, man, the biggest name in the game for them, man, is leadership. What they bring is going to do wonders for his organization.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, Kuz talked about leading by example, and he doesn't want to come off as phony. He just wants to hold himself accountable so he can hold others accountable. So I just want to thank you guys for listening. We're going to talk about Denny and Bilal and their press conferences. And I just want to thank you guys for listening. Make sure you guys subscribe, hit the notification bell. Health to the Wizards. Peace.